Hello and welcome to the season recap for the Dominion League. Season 56, we are in the D division this season. We'll be featuring the most interesting games that I had from all the matches that occurred in this season. Our first match was against Cathedral 419, and here is a kingdom from that match. This kingdom has all the pieces that you would like to have in order to build something big. You have plus action in Fishing Village, Patron, Workers Village. You have draw in Envoy and Shepherd, plus buy, Workers Village, Market, Abundance, Hermit can gain. Hermit can also trash, and Crypt, while not trashing in its pure form, it can remove many coppers from your deck and give you the kind of control you are looking for. We want to build big. How do we start off? Well, Cat Stealer opens with a fishing village, which is a fine choice. I have the 4-3. I am going to open with an Envoy, and so does Cat Stealer. However, I will not get the fishing village on my 3. I'll get the Hermit instead. The reason for the Hermit for me is because I wanted to use the Hermit to remove the estates early to give me that little bit extra control from trashing out the estates. Cat Stealer, and this is a fair thing you can do. Skip the Hermit because you want to keep the estates. Shepherd is there in tandem with the Envoy. It should prove to be an asset later in the game. However, I'm not very comfortable with Shepherd. I do not know the proportions. How many green cards should you have to how many Shepherds you should have in order to achieve what level of consistency. So instead, I decided to stick with what I know, what I'm comfortable with. Go for the Envoy first. The Shepherd can come later, but that will be secondary. The Envoy for draw will be primary. The Fishing Village and the Envoy does have another idea in mind. For Cat Stealer, it is easier for them to hit 5 on this shuffle if the especially if the Fishing Village is paired with the Envoy. The Hermit is not that great at hitting 5 on turns 3 and 4. I do see my Envoy straight away here. Cat Stealer does see their Fishing Village, so that is good for them. On 3, again, they skip the Hermit, so this is just further confirmation that they do want to keep the estates around with an eye to Shepherd later in the game, and the estates are worth 2 points each now because of the presence of the pasture and the Shepherd in the kingdom. Another Fishing Village then is the clear choice on 3 here. Alright, we see our Envoy will play it. I do not mind playing it here, even though it draws the Hermit dead. Envoy goes through 5 cards in your deck. That is a tremendous amount of cycling, and it is very likely that you'll hit 3 or 4. If you're lucky, you hit 5 with the Envoy. This drew me all my estates plus the Hermit. But 3 and 4 are fine price points on this board. You have many opportunities or many choices for that price point, especially on turn 3. So I'll get the Hermit later, no problem. What do you buy on 4 though? Well, I have 2 terminals. The natural choice would be to buy something to help you play both terminals. Workers Village I considered. Fishing Village I also considered, but in the end I ended up picking up a Patron. I'll explain why. I thought the Patron was the most flexible choice of plus action in the kingdom. That is still true. For example, I could play the Patron now on my turn, and then on the next turn, I have the choice of whether or not I want to spend that villager on the Envoy, on the Hermit, for instance. However, in retrospect, I think Fishing Village was the better choice here. Why? Because Fishing Village, if I play it now on turn 5, I get the actions now. So if it comes with the Envoy, great, or the Hermit, great. If it doesn't, then there's another chance that I see the Envoy with the Fishing Village on turn 6 maybe. And because my deck size is so small, it will only take me 2 turns to go through the deck before I reshuffle again. If the deck was bigger, then the patron would have made more sense. But with this size of deck, what, 13 cards now, the Fishing Village, I think, is the right choice. Cat Stealer has been doing the right thing here. Anyways, we get the patron and we get lucky. We see it here, and then we have choice of if to spend the villager or not. Fishing Village collides with Envoy for Cat Stealer as expected. We naturally discard the other Fishing Village. I don't want them to have that in play. They get up to 7 immediately. This is brilliant. This is great draw from the Envoy. This is what Envoy can do. They get the Crypt straight away. A little bit concerning for me, especially as how I'm not able to get to 5 here. Part of the reason why I bought the Patron also was that it was 2 coins. So it may have helped me get to 5 for the Crypt, but really the Fishing Village is a coin and you get the extra security. Anyways, I am going to pick up a Workers Village here, I believe, not the Shepherd yet. We spoke about why. The reason for the Workers Village is because primarily it draws a card. I don't really care too much about the plus buy. I have other plans for my plus buy. But the ability to draw a card is significant, especially when you're just starting to build a deck. A Fishing Village, while it provides many actions, it doesn't draw the card. I would like the card draw. And there's a reason for that. You'll see it come into play later in the game. Okay, Cat Stealer comes down. I almost discard the Fishing Village there, but you have to discard the Crypt. And that is the reason why I want the draw from the Workers Village, because Envoy has this habit of getting your best card discarded. If I draw all the way through my deck, there'll be a couple cards in my discard pile, probably the 2 best cards in my deck. With the Workers Village, I could pick up one of them, or both of them, depending on how many cards are in the discard. Fishing Village cannot do that for me. So you do have to think about balancing reliability with finding the best cards in your deck. They get to 6, they're going to buy another Crypt. This is saying, well, you could discard 1 Crypt, but you can't discard both, and they would probably want 2 Crypts anyway. Hermit is going to trash one of the estates here, and this should have been a madman. I was a madman instead. I made a bad play here. I picked up a Fishing Village, and I am going to pick up another 4 cost, which they're not bad buys, but the madman is better. Another Envoy is good. Another Fishing Village, not another, but a Fishing Village Envoy pair for me is good. I think still the madman is better, especially with the plus buy in the deck from the Workers Village. I think the madman was better. Anyways, mistakes aside, Cat Stealer gets to 5 again. They go for their plus buy in the market. Makes sense. Envoy reveals the patron, gets me some extra money. Helpful. Not essential. We are able to play the Hermit as well because of the Villager. Very good for that. And we get up to our Crypt. So far, we've been able to deny Cat Stealer's Crypt. They've not seen it yet. And we just bought one. So there's a small chance we'll catch up to them very quickly here. They do see their Crypt, but this is not a good hand for the Crypt. Only 2 coppers. They have another one, so they'll probably set a few more coppers aside on that. And on 2, they are able to buy a ride for a horse. Fine card to buy with just 2 coins. And ride is actually crucial in this kingdom. I try to shuffle here with the Workers Village. I feel it is fine because of this card, the Fishing Village. I have the Fishing Village, so either I drew the Envoy, which would have been the, low chance but high reward play, and then I would draw through the deck, or I would not have. I'd draw a copper or something and just buy another 4 cost. Or in this case, I got up to 5 and I bought a market. Additionally, I was able to put down the Fishing Village, which could come with one of my 2 envoys. Alright, dead draw Envoy for Cat Stealer. Only gets them up to 4, but they do get their Crypt in hand, and they are able to set aside 4 coppers. So they set aside 2 last turn, 1 came out, and now they set 4 aside again. So there's 5 set aside, just 2 coppers in the deck, and they just bought a Shepherd. So I think they have necessary consistency now. we have just found our crypt and it's not looking so good. Additionally, we didn't find any of our envoys. They are in the bottom 5 cards. What can you do? Hermit gains me another fishing village, and I buy another crypt because I definitely need a second crypt. Fortunately for me, another stall turn for Cat Stealer. Here they get up to 5. Probably another market. Yep. And here we will be able to draw all the way through to the end of the deck with these 2 envoys. With this, I am now able to make some plays here. I do not put this fishing village into play because I'm going to gain 1 with the Hermit, and I want to have 2 fishing villages in play every turn, just for like perfectly symmetrical reliability. I know at the start of turn I have 3 actions, and I don't think I need the extra money, because my plan here now is to execute the whole point of building up this deck. Why have we built something that can draw this many cards and give you so many actions and plus buy? Well, the point is, the focus, the crux of the matter is, I want to play many abundances. Abundance, when you buy an action, gets you 3 coin and a buy. That is better than gold, and it costs 4. Almost half the price of gold. The first one isn't quite the gold because you have to refund the cost of the action, of course. But the subsequent abundances are better than gold. And I have 12 here without the fishing village. This is going to be triple abundance. The crypt, the second crypt, is going to let me set all of the coppers and the pasture aside. I probably am not going to stall here. At this point, I felt very comfortable in my position. Catstila did have a lead in development, but we managed to have that big turn with the 2 envoys. They only have 1 envoy. Now they see their shepherd, so now they see their whole deck. They get up to 9. Could be double abundance for them. We'll see if they decide to go down the abundance route or not. They do have the other crypt in hand, of course, so they will also be able to set aside these 4 coppers on their pasture. They also have the horse still that they haven't played, because there's no need to play the horse, so they're very consistent. They now have to ask themselves the same question I asked myself: where do I want to take my deck from here? What is the point? Like, what should my deck do? And they went for market and envoy, and I didn't like that. I could understand the market a little bit, but the envoy, no. They just drew their whole deck. There's no need for additional draw. Now is the time when you need to add some power to the deck. Anyways, we'll take it. We do find our envoy early, so we'll draw through the whole deck, no problem. Getting the coffer from revealing the patron, of course. I should have probably gained a silver here and drawn it into hand. I gained the estate instead because I'm planning to buy a shepherd and planning to green very soon. So I want the extra draw from the shepherd. I buy 1 shepherd. I had 9. I started with 9. Now look at how much money and buys I have. 14 because of all the abundances. What should I buy here? Really, it should just be more abundances, and that is what I end up doing. I get a 3rd envoy just to be a little redundant with the draw. The consistency is very important at this stage of the game. 1 false turn, and that can lose you the game at this stage. So being a little bit wary about the draw, I added the shepherd, I added the envoy, and 2 more abundances. We hope to be able to draw through again and this time generate much more money. Castilla draws through their deck again without the envoy or the shepherd this time. They start on the abundances, but it is going to be a little too late for them. In fact, they feel the need to resign in that position. So we get a nice abundance win on the abundance background kingdom. Let's move to game 2. Match 2 was against Singletee. Singletee looks at this kingdom and they decide that they want to get inheritance early. We have 3 targets for inheritance in this kingdom. We have the armory, baron, and diplomat. If I had to choose, I would choose diplomat to be my choice of inheritance target. However, I disagreed with singletee. I thought that it was not worth it to turn 3 estates into diplomats. Instead, I thought the universities were more important because governor is such a centralizing card. University can gain the governor very easily. Additionally, university has great targets in storyteller and barge. Those cards can be used to draw, and then ideally your governor would remodel gold. You would try to avoid using the governor for draw as much as possible, and you can do that here. We have many options for draw. Barge, Den of Sin, Diplomat. Storyteller is the big one. Governor will gain the gold. Storyteller will then use that gold to draw many cards. So I wanted to focus on the 5 costs and probably skip inheritance here. I have first player, and I open with 3-4. Well, there's a coffer, so it could be 4-4, for example. However, I didn't want the 4-4. The best 4-4 I thought would be armory and potion to go after the universities. However, I didn't want to spend the coffer right away on that. I didn't think it was worth it to do armory potion. I know I want to prioritize getting the universities. However, I feel like the armory could do that for me. The armory will top deck the potion, and then I could use the armory to top deck other cards. The top deck here is better than usual because you can gamble into the card that you top deck. For example, if you top deck a Baron with the armor, you can gamble, get the Baron into play, and you would actually make money from that play. The Baron here from singletee tips me off to the inheritance plan immediately. As soon as they bought that, I knew what they wanted to do, or I had a good idea of what they wanted to do. Why do you want all that money singletee? Probably for inheritance, right? In general, too, I dislike Baron until later into the game. Baron has good chances of coming with an estate on turns 3 and 4, but if you're not thinning the deck or increasing your draw or making it more likely in subsequent turns that the Baron should come with an estate, many times it is a dead card. And I don't like dead cards. So we go with the Armory instead, not the Baron. We luckily do see the Armory straight away. That will allow me to top deck the Potion. And because I have 4 coin, even 3 coin would have worked because I saved the coffer, I can now gamble into this potion and buy the university. Ta-da! More than that, we get an absurd draw here. Cannot complain about these turns 3 and 4. 5. Singletee also gets a 5. But I was able to buy university and Den of Sin here. That looks excellent. Now, because singletee had that 5, it guarantees them on turn 4 that they get to inheritance, and the choice is diplomat as expected. Now we'll see the battle of ideas. I do have my early university, which I wanted. Singletee has their early inheritance, which they wanted. We see the armory again here. This could be, for example, top decked Baron. Instead, I top deck a diplomat because I know there's a university in the back there. I might be able to pair it with the university, draw a couple cards, and we buy a second university where we are well on our way here. So here's the first diplomat for singletee. They draw, get up to 4, maybe 5, probably 5. No, now they want the potion. So the idea is inheritance first, then potion. Mine, I'm not going to buy inheritance for the rest of the game. That is a little bit of a spoiler, but it is important to mention now so that you understand the battle of ideas that is happening here. All right, first university is going to be for a storyteller, not the governor. Barge is also about equivalent to Storyteller with my current deck state because I have no big treasures. I obviously have plans for Storyteller later when the governors come in and start to gain gold, but Barge there is reasonable as well. Probably better in some situations on some hands. The idea with the Storyteller early is that I can draw quickly into my universities because at this point that is really all I want to do for the next 2-3 turns, or 2-3 shuffles rather. If they could be 2-3 turns, that'd be great. But 2-3 shuffles, I just want to see my universities and play them. Then I can start to load up the deck with gold on governors. We do draw again into 4, potentially 5 here. I will probably go for a 5. There aren't great 4 costs in the kingdom. 1 diplomat is already plenty, I felt. And we get a second storyteller. Again, same idea. Find the universities, play the universities. That's my idea. And let me try to use the advantage that I have, which is a pair universities. All right. Another diplomat played for singletee. Look at this. This was a nice gamble. 1 in 4 chance. It worked out. Makes them money and plus buy. So from 7 and no buy, and 1 buy, sorry. They end up with 9 and 2 buys. This is potentially 2 5s. Instead, they choose to gamble again, and they get a university and a denizen. That's a great turn. And the diplomat helped them to draw through into a new shuffle. All right, what do we have? We do see our storyteller. This is a bit of dead draw, but we take the draw from the diplomat, and we get a 3rd university here. Our universities are hiding. Baron comes with the estate again for singletee there after a couple cards from the den, and they gamble into a university. That's lucky. They take the storyteller and they are able to buy yet another den of sin. I go for a barge now. I think 2 storytellers is enough, and I still want the draw rather than the governors. On the next shuffle, I'll probably start gaining the governors. I know I have universities stuck in the bottom 3 cards, so I gamble. Luckily, I find one of them, well, the other one actually, and I start in on the governors just before the shuffle actually. Alright, 2 dens for singletee. Probably a big turn coming here. Yep, there's the storyteller to draw 5. And they know what the last card of their deck is, obviously. Baron comes out, gamble. That is the last card of their deck. So because of gamble, that wasn't as bad a draw as it could have been. And now singletee has 2 universities. They have started in on the governors and they've bought another den of sin. Now when you look at the decks, they are close. We have the same governors. I have 1 more university, 1 more storyteller, a barge. But singletee is close, and critically, they are drawing through their deck very quickly. Again, they went through their whole deck, shuffled, and now they're back with the cards that they just gained. We have to use this governor for draw. Diplomat draws as well. We see 2 universities. Top deck the Baron, so we could gamble into the Baron, and we buy another Den of Sin. So we shuffle as well. That is good news for us. Governor number 2 for singletee. This is going to be a crucial pile. Baron first, because that allows the storyteller to draw all the way through their deck, so they're catching up. They're doing very well here. University gain, diplomat draw, and gain and play even. So at this point, I would say they are ahead. They've started to add the gold into the deck now. Gamble gets the gold from the top of the deck and gives them an extra coin. 3rd university for them. This could easily, they could have gone for governor, gamble, governor, then bought the university. Maybe they missed that line, but this is still fine. Now they have more governors than me, more dens than me. The same number of universities, 1 less storyteller, but they are ahead. They are ahead. They have the gold. At this point, I tried to get as many governors as I could, which is 2 of them of the universities. I would have loved to have been able to buy The third one there, the third one for the turn. I gamble through the rest of the deck here. This armory, this wasn't the play. It has drawn dead and is not a good card to gamble into right now. I buy a transmute with ideas of gaining duchies for the incoming endgame. Singletee gets the last governor naturally. That split went 5 to 5. And here comes the booming draw from the storyteller. 6 plus 1 from the storyteller, 7 cards. And they have additional draw from the diplomats. The thing I overlooked with the inheritance is that inheritance is secretly trashing. They don't write it on the card, trash this. But if you turn your estates into diplomats, it's like you only have 7 stop cards or 7 starting cards. It's like the deck is 7 coppers, 3 diplomats now, which is a lot better than 7 coppers, 3 estates. So now many gains and plays are happening. Gain gold, draw gold, gain gold, draw gold, gain this, draw that. They could gain many things with the university, gamble into them, play them. Barges, for instance, can be played on the next turn. They decide to go after the provinces straight away. Makes sense. They have the lead in the deck development. What do I have? Is the question to Singletee. What do I have? And you know Governor endgames can go very quickly here. Baker doesn't make sense. This should have been a barge. My play here should have been to try to build up a massive turn for the next turn. But I do get a little bit lost in the sauce here, so to speak. I make bad games from a bad position. Bad decisions coming from a bad position here. So we get through a lot of the deck. I'm looking for the second storyteller. It's in the bottom 3 cards. Not where you would like to see it, of course. I have ample options now. What do I do with the governors? I could gain gold. I could trash province into province. Choose to gain a couple gold here. What do I do with the last one is the question. Well, this one I turn into a province. I think that is fine. If Singletee could get 5 provinces, they'll win. I can't beat that. The second storyteller will draw me into some of the gold that I gained off the governor. I miss a couple cards here. One of them I know is a gold, so I'll try to gamble into that. I am successful, and the other one is the barge. So we set that barge up for next turn. So the idea here should have been now, I could have used the universities to gain many barges, gambled into them to have them set aside for next turn, and have a huge next turn, big draw, and then use potentially 4 out of 5 governors for province gaining, probably buying the 5th province, something like that. But I make a kind of mid-range play here, which is to buy a province and a duchy. My idea was if Singletee could get 4 provinces on this turn, they would probably win anyway, which I think is true. I mean, if that's true, then I need to get duchies so that next turn, with the big hand from the barges, potentially I'd be able to gain enough points. It was a difficult position, and I don't think I found the right way out of it. And Singletee is able to capitalize on the poor decisions at the end here. 4 provinces is actually trivial for that deck to do with the amount of draw that they have. They are able to easily line up, I think, 3 governors into 3 gold. If not 3, all 4 governors, all 4 of the remaining governors find gold to finish off the game. Here's 1, here's 2, here's the 3rd, and then I have no chance, so I resign. The inheritance worked out very well for Singletee. Probably that is the way to go in that kingdom. Let's move on to the 3rd game. Our 3rd game was against DVD Eng. 3rd match, sorry, was against DVD Eng. And we had another contest of ideas here. I especially like this one because it features a card I like from, well, you'll see. Okay, our kingdom has donate in it. It means you are able to precisely plan what cards you want to buy, what your deck will look like well into the future. All right, what would I like? my deck to look like. I thought Bandit Camp looks like the strongest card in the kingdom. I would like to get as many Bandit Camps as possible. I would have to use Figurine for plus buy to make good use of all those spoils. Cultist, I'm not worried about because Guardian can protect me. My deck will be very thin. I will reliably have a Guardian in play. At some point, once the Bandit Camps run out, these cities become good cards to draw with, help me see my spoils. This was my idea. Strategy revolving around those cards: Bandit Camp, City, Figurine. DVD has a different idea, and you'll see it. I start with the Guardian. It will be useful, and it will potentially deter cultist buys from DVD Eng. The 5 for me is naturally going to be the Bandit Camp, which we wanted from the beginning anyway. This way I don't have to build up with Silver or Blockade or something like that. DVD Eng does go for the Blockade here, and they pair it with a Silver. That is probably the same thing that I would have done on 4-3. In general, having gainers before you donate is good in general, because as you pay off your debt, you can still build up your deck by gaining cards. Being in debt does not prevent you from gaining cards, so they will have the Blockade to help them gain cards after they donate. I'll have the Bandit Camp. In fact, I'll have the Bandit Camp and the Blockade. 4 there is very lucky for me. If I didn't see 4, I probably would have donated there and passed it back, but the Blockade I think is too good, especially in the first few turns after you donate. Alright, Blockade comes down for DVD. They blockade our Blockade. That makes sense. With the thin deck, they can always play the Blockade, and they donate. So they donate before me, which is sometimes advantageous. You generally want to be the first person to donate. It's not the end of the world if you're the second person to donate. But if you are the first person to donate, you are saying, I have a lead in deck development. Ha. Okay. Now, we'll see what DVD trashes from their deck here. They have the 2 Blockades. Presumably those will stay. And a Silver, that'll stay. What else will stay, if anything? They do undo here because they wanted to trash 1 more card from their hand. Again, you can calculate precisely here. This is perfectly fine to give them back that option. They blockade our Silver, pay off 4 debt. The next turn they'll have the Silver plus the 4 coin to get up to 5. Critical price point here, probably for a Bandit Camp. Okay, so my donate is going to look a little bit different. I do not want those straggling coppers in my deck, especially after I have a Bandit Camp and a Blockade in it. I think it is unnecessary to keep those around. Blockade a Blockade, so that I can play 1 next turn. Spoils helps me to pay off debt. Blockade comes out again for DVD, and they get an investment. I said, okay, that makes sense. They want to get rid of their straggling coppers with the investment. I had overlooked that possibility, actually. But it makes sense, I understand. And now I cannot get the investment. I didn't want it anyway. I blockade a Silver instead. Again, calculating my spoils, I knew that gaining the Silver there would help me get to 5. So the decks are fairly similar at this point. A little bit more junk in DVD's deck, but I don't think that is detrimental. I don't think that'll cause any problems because the investment should clean that up very quickly. So here's another blockade. I blockaded Silver. So that deters them from blockading Silver, of course. They go for another blockade, and here is where I started to get interested. I didn't see much use for blockade in this game, aside from a few Silver here and there to get out of debt, but DVD sees some other use for blockade that I'm not seeing right now. I said, okay, let's see where this goes. Bandit Camp. That was expected, of course. I blockade Settlers. This settlers is important because it will help me pick up the spoils that I gain from the bandit camp. Additionally, it will be or can be an action to discard to my figurine later for plus buy. Blockade, and now they blockade our second investment, and now I'm very interested. I thought they just wanted the first investment, the trash from their hand, but now it looks like DVD wants to use these investments to score with. And I didn't think about this at the beginning of the game at all. But investment, if everything is shaped properly, can net you 5 points. There's copper, there's silver, there's gold, there's figurine, and there's investment itself. 5 points is plenty points. Very close to province, and with the blockades they have, they don't have to spend their buys on the investment. Said okay, but I think this will be too slow. Even another investment is blockaded here. They trash our silver and they buy a cultist. Said alright, the cultist is draw for them and it forces me here to blockade our guardian. That's not a big deal. I'm more happy that the guardians lined up. So I'm able to play this guardian here, and then the blockaded guardian will go into play on the next turn. I should have absolute defense after that. Deliver is going to put the figurine into my hand. Deliver, again, while it doesn't explicitly say this on the card, deliver is draw. Because look at my hand, 6 cards. I didn't have to draw the figurine. I paid 2 coins to have it delivered there. Alright, back to the investment strategy. They draw through to the end of their deck. Blockade number 3 comes out for them. They blockade a silver. Investment comes out and gets trashed for 4 VP. Spoils are revealed. Spoils are revealed. So actually I was wrong. I didn't count the spoils. Investment can be worth as much as a province. Copper, gold, silver. Investment figurine, spoils. How I missed that, I don't know, but I'm happy DVD didn't miss it. Settlers, I will not use the settlers to draw here. Instead, I'll use the figurine to draw the spoils and then discard the settlers for plus buy. Gain another silver with my blockade. I get up to 10. I'm doing well on the bandit camp split. I have 4 of them now. And DVD only has 2, and they have a bad turn here. Just blockading another blockade, playing a figurine. They should get to 5 probably. If they didn't see any of their bandit camp, I presume they drew into spoils. Yeah, there's spoils, and they deliver a cultist into their hand. Blockade will set aside yet another settlers for me. Maybe another figurine is in the air for me here. I get up to 12 on 2 buys, which is a great price point to be at. It allows me to deliver 2 bandit camps into my hand. I have 1 that's split now, 6-4. That's what I wanted from the beginning. Look at what DVD does here. I like this. I love this. I didn't even see this. I missed so many things in this kingdom. They blockaded the settlers. After I blockaded the settlers, I thought that was supposed to deter people from blockading that pile or gaining from that pile. Not DVD. But they want the curse. They want the curse so that they could trash the curse to the investment. See it here. And then gain lots of VP. The curse is actively helping them. And it doesn't matter what I blockade. They'll just blockade that and gain the curse. Unless I stop playing my blockade altogether. But then they just blockade copper or curse or something and trash that instead to the investment. They pick up the last 2 investments on their turn here, and I am going to now blockade a third blockade. At first, or earlier in the game, I didn't see much use for the blockades, but now I do. I'm not going after the investments. I don't have the deck for that. They kept a copper back from their donate, for instance, and they have much more pile control over the investments than I do, and I don't want to be taking multiple curses here. I'm not quite drawing through the deck just yet, but now that bandit camps are empty, the cities will help me to draw, and the third blockade will help me to control the piles. Blockade is very thin, so at an opportune time, I could blockade the final blockade to make my cities give me plus buy. That is why I have now a third blockade in my deck, because that pile has run thin for me. 12 and 2 buys is going to allow me to deliver a couple of cities into my hand, but I choose the second figurine instead for a third plus buy. I think that is the right choice with the amount of spoils present in my deck. Big turn for DVD. Both cultists come out. They blockade or blockade just to gain the curse, and they're happy with the blockade as well. Investment from the other two blockades. Figurine will draw. Investment will find the curse, trash out. This time only for 3 VP. So they haven't quite got up to the 6 VP part yet. They need more draw to be able to do that. In the meantime, my deck probably will draw itself here. There's more draw for them. They recognize that they need more draw. Delivered cultist. We are not able to draw all the way through the deck still. Unfortunately, I made a misplay here. I am going to go ahead and blockade the final blockade here, but I could have done that earlier in the turn to get me an extra coin and buy from the city. This is why recording is good. You get to look back and see your mistakes. I play the figurines. I do get plus buy from both of them. And here I have a choice. Piles are thin, and DVD has a points lead. 11 points ahead, and they could probably extend that by 3 or 4 very easily on their next turn. 5 investments are left. 5 investments are left. I could score here with double province to start to catch up to the points on DVD, or I can build, in which case I'm saying to DVD, I don't think you can empty the investment pile. I choose to build here because I have 4 of the blockades. They have 6 of them. 3 of them are in play. They don't quite have enough draw to consistently see their deck. They have not demonstrated that since the early donate days. So on a good draw, they could probably do it, but I think it is unlikely that they do it. So I choose instead to deliver some cities to my hand and build up for a huge turn next turn, especially with the extra coin and buy from these cities. Fortunately for me, DVD is only able to play a couple cultists, no blockades critically. Does find them an investment for 3 more points, and 7, 10, 12 is going to allow them to deliver a cultist and a figurine into their deck, into their hand, sorry. Now, they will probably have a big turn on the next turn, so I don't think I could take the chance with the investments now. Meaning, I don't think I can build up anymore with the cities. I think I have to address the point situation right now. And if you pause the video, I've paused the game. There is a win here. There is a win for me right now. Well, maybe not right now, but there is a line that I should have considered, but I didn't consider. And the line was emptying the investment pile and getting enough points. Do I have it right now? How much money do I have? I have 5 and 6, 11, plus 12 is 23. How much money would I need? I need to blockade 2 investments. So then I would need 12 coin for the investments. And then how much other money would I need? I don't have to stop here. I can play the settlers, for instance, and then draw with the figurine. But I'm just highlighting, this is what I should have been thinking about in the game, but I didn't. So I'm at 23, 12 would be spent, I would have 11, that would get me 1 province. I need another province and a duchy, which is 13 more money. Do I have 13 more money? And it's important to stop to consider here, because you have to decide what to do with the figurines, if you want to discard the settlers to it or not. So I do not quite have the win in hand here, but before I went trigger happy with the blockades, I definitely should have considered the investment pile out option, and I didn't. I don't have it yet, but I didn't even think about it. Blockade for me here is difficult. There's nothing great to gain. I choose a couple silver instead. Figurine is going to draw all the way through the deck, and I should know that there's nothing left in the deck except treasure, so I could have counted 4 more spoils to my total, which does put me actually in a position to win the game, had I blockaded the investments and been keeping track of my deck properly. While all the information was not evident, obvious, with some calculation, the information was available to me, and I did not find the answer. Instead, I am going to just go for points, delivering enough provinces into my hand. I could get 1 more province delivered into my hand here. I am deciding between that and another city. I do decide to get that and settlers delivered into my hand here, but now my deck is much worse because I've put those 4 stop cards in the deck. I do have a 10-point lead to show for it, but it is unlikely that I'll be able to replicate a quad province turn here. DVD plays it what looks to be a little risky. They blockade a couple of investments here, so they would have to take a big points lead, and they are going to do so. Rightly so. 4 points from that investment. A heap of spoils will get them into the lead here with a province. They could have delivered the province and the duchy into the hand, because why not? That's just strictly better. They didn't, but the lead is sufficient. Well, is it sufficient? With a decent draw, maybe I could overtake this. If I see both my blockades, enough of my cities, I would just need 12. No, yeah, 12 coin, or 5 and 2, 7 for duchy estate, and 4 more for the final investment for 11. So I would need 11 on 3 buys to win here, but now we get a bad draw, and we do not see the necessary plus buys, so the most we can do is grab as much points as possible, which is going to be a duchy and a province here, pass it back to DVD and hope they can't finish the game. However, they are able to finish the game. They do get enough money for double province, and the investment strategy wins out. I initially thought it was too slow, and I was right, but I didn't find the right way to refute the idea at the end here. End game play, very important in Dominion. You'll win so much more games if your end game improves. All right, that is game 3. Let's move on to the 4th. Match 4, was against A Moffat 11, and this was the most surprising game to me. Looking at the kingdom, we have stables for draw. That seems to be the primary source of plus draw. Plus actions is a little bit awkward to get. You would have to get it with flagship. And flagship is funny because you have to play a flagship on this turn and then play something like the stables on the next turn, and then you get +2 actions. And then you would have to chain another flagship and stables after that to continue gaining plus action, and then end that action chain with a flagship so that you have actions on the next turn. But it is possible to get some actions here. Trashing is not looking good. Non-existent, save for the druid. In the log, you'll see the flames gift set aside for the druid. That is the trashing boon. Extra draw in caravan, plus buy in candlestick maker druid. Marauder is there, and Marauder seems to be relatively important because the trashing is bad in druid. But bad means it's slow. It only trashes 1 card at a time. However, I had a super secret, special, awesome plan to deal with the ruins from the marauder, and that was the way of the turtle. It's going to set all of the ruins aside with the way of the turtle and just get them out of the deck. In that way, I didn't have to worry about the marauder. In fact, I am going to skip marauder here. I think 5 is much more important than putting junk into your opponent's deck that they can easily get rid of with a combination of druid and way of the turtle. Opening for 5 looks like opening silver and caravan for me. I thought about opening druid here to get the trashing in as soon as possible. We mentioned druid is slow trashing, 1 card at a time. That means you want to put it in your deck sooner rather than later. However, I think the 5 is just much more important than trashing 1 at a time. Silver also for aim off it, but they get the marauder instead. I get my stables as desired. Marauder comes out. Caravan for aim off it. First one. This could be another caravan for me. However, I stop and I decide to get the druid in the deck at this point. The boons on the druid, trashing, plus 2 cards, discard 2 cards as the dungeon, and the gold, I actually end up using all of them in this game. So this turned out to be a good druid. Usually that collection of boons is mediocre. However, here I did find use for it. I'm happy I ended up picking up a druid. 3 for aim off it is going to be another silver. There goes the ruined market off to swim with the turtle. 4 for me, clearly going to be a caravan. However, at this point, I thought I have a caravan, I have a stables in the deck. I could reasonably include our flagship. And I do get the flagship here. I think I could start getting my plus actions, no problem. Another 3 for aim off it. 3 is not a good price point here. You are happy to take a candlestick maker and probably a second silver, but you don't want more than that. I think you would rather hit 4 and 5. Candlestick maker is a fine card to pick up. Stables comes down for me. Druid. I am going to trash here. These estates are causing problems, preventing me from hitting 4, as you see here. Even getting rid of just 1 makes it very likely that I get to 4. I never miss 4 from here on out. And 3 is going to be also a candlestick maker for me, instead of a silver with an eye to the flagship that is in the deck. Okay, a flagship for aim off it. I see my stables early, very good. I have the choice of druid or flagship here. I am going to take the flagship, or ruin market set aside, of course, but I'm going to take the flagship, prioritizing the 5 cost stables, best draw in the kingdom. Later, hopefully that flagship can collide with a stables and draw me a heap of cards and give me actions. Flagship goes down, stables gets bought, and on my next turn is where I learn something brand new about flagship and why it was a terrible card for me to buy, rather why marauder was terrible for me to skip. Aim off it gets to 5, presumably that is a stables. Here's the interaction with the way of the turtle. Look at the log. What flagship says the next time you play a non-command action, play it twice. What was the next action that I played? A ruined market as way of the turtle. So flagship saw that first and thought I wanted to play that twice. So I said, no, flagship, I don't want to play the ruined market twice. I just want to set it aside twice. And now, as long as I keep setting aside ruins, I will never be able to get the plus actions from the flagship, because the way of the turtle will interrupt the flagship and the stables, for example. Completely missed that at the beginning of the game. Good to see it here. Good to see it in League. I'll never forget this now. This interaction, very niche interaction I might add, between ruins, way of the turtle, and flagship. I could get the ruins off the way of the turtle, but then I have to play the game with ruins, and I'd rather play the game with 1 action rather than 5-6 ruins. And now an orange brick in the deck. Great, thank you. Anyways, my wheels have to spin here a little bit to think about what to get. 4, this could be 5. I choose caravan instead of stables because I wanted to save the coffer for a worse hand. If I draw another hand with 3, for example, then I could get a caravan. The last thing about that flagship ruins way of the turtle interaction is that because I don't have a marauder, it means a Moffat can build big with the fleet of flagships now because there's no ruins to get in the way of their deck. Bad news for me. Very bad news for me. Here comes their first flagship, and they pick up a second flagship even. The extra actions are going to be helpful, and especially with the extra draw from the stables, this is not looking good for me. I do use the coffer here to get caravan. I get hit with 2 ruins from the marauder. My way of the turtle plan, my grand way of the turtle plan to set aside the ruins is not working out at all. I think I have 3 ruins in the deck now. Only 1 has been set aside with the way of the turtle. The druid is not able to trash fast enough. I'm not able to see these ruins fast enough to set them aside. But we persevere. We keep building here. I do trigger this shuffle, and I am able to set aside another ruin. So 2 of them on the way of the turtle, 2 of them in the deck. I triggered the shuffle here because I had a second stables in the deck, and I felt reasonably confident in being able to get to 5. Still, it's not that bad of a shuffle is what I'm saying. Like, I can still get to 5 here, no big deal. Okay, another stables for a Moffat. Candlestick Maker. I can't quite get to 5 actually, so I calculated poorly, but 4 is still good for a caravan. And here is where a Moffat's deck starts to sing. 2 players of the stables, 2 caravans come down, Candlestick Maker comes down, Marauder attack, and 10 and 2 buys. There you have it. The only advantage that I had is now slipping away from me in the stables split. We keep going. Stables early helps. However, I'm unable to buy more stables. I get just a caravan while my opponent is picking up 2 stables a turn. Let's see if they get there again. Yup, they do get there again. This is easily 2 more stables for them if they want it. However, they make the play of going for province. I understand why A. Moffat did this. They are saying, I have the advantage in deck development. My deck has no ruins. My deck has more flagships, more plus action, more draw. While you are floundering there, I will go ahead and take many, many provinces, ideally 8 of them. Okay, A. Moffat, how do I respond to this? Well, I cannot contest provinces right now. The only thing that I can do is continue building up the deck and hope to catch up on alternative victory points. Here is where I use a different option from the druid. I gain a gold because I still would have enough money to get another stables. Another double stables play for A. Moffat, and Marauder comes down again to hand out yet another ruins, another province for them. Alright, let's see if we could get the last 2 stables. That is our hope. Still keeping these ruins out of the deck with the way of the turtle. We have been fortunate with these stables. We've been able to draw through a lot of the deck. Here's the final boon from the druid, just to draw me through the deck to get me closer to a cleaner shuffle, get rid of the junk from the top of the deck is what I mean. And this does actually net me 10 and 2 buys. That is going to be a couple of stables. A. Moffat lets me win the stable split here, effectively. I think that could have gone 5-5, or maybe A. Moffat could have won that split. But they gave me the extra stables. Let's see what I could do with them now. They keep hitting provinces though, and the Candlestick Maker is helping them to stay consistent with that line. They have 2 coffers set aside, so hitting province is not that difficult for them, to be honest. Let's see. What can we do here? Not much on this turn, unfortunately. We do set aside our ruins. So we set 3 ruins aside. We have 3 in the deck. 4 is left in the stack. The play here now is to pursue alternative victory points in the form of Conquest. That involves me gaining a silver mine. Conquest, I liked Conquest a lot when it first came out, and I still do like it. And I think there's an opportunity in this game, a genuine opportunity to make use of the extra VP from the Conquest. Conquest can gain quite a few VP. This could be double silver mine even. But I think I don't have enough draw in the deck to support that much silver. I'm planning ahead. I know that I'll get a heap of silver from the Conquests. So I don't want to completely inundate the deck with silver. Alright, double stables play for A Moffat. This looks like another province hand for them, to be honest. That is all their stables, and they actually are able to play their marauder twice. Get up to 9 and 2 buys. This, yeah, there's province again. If you want province caravan, if you like. They probably won't get the caravan because the coffers are much more valuable than a caravan. But, see the play? 2 caravans. What's that about? Well, Moffat has recognized that the stables are empty. I emptied them. And they have a massive 20-point lead. And now a single caravan and 2 ruins will finish the game for them in their favor. It is a delayed pile-out strategy. And it looks good. How am I getting 20 points in one turn? Well, I'm not. The most I could do here is hope that I get another turn. So we do not take the extra benefits from the ruins because there's no point. Even if I do get an extra card out of it and an extra buy, I do not see how I am getting 20 points just to tie up the game. And even that might be insufficient at that point because the aim of it will just continue after the provinces. We do see many cards from the deck. I choose here to go ahead and gain another gold, discarding the 3 ruins in the deck, and we start on Conquests. Silver Mine will gain 1 silver. First Conquest then nets 3 VP, second Conquest nets 5 VP. Puts me to 9 points, still 12 points behind, but the deck is now much richer. We'll see if A Moffat comes up with it. I could easily lose here, very easily. There's the Candlestick Maker. If they see the Marauder, I lose. Marauder will empty 1 ruins, and then they could buy Caravan on the last ruins for the win. Is this the final turn? No, it's not. Flagship down. Flagship down. Okay, so what does he play now for A Moffat? Do they continue along with the pile-out? Delayed pile-out? They don't. They pull out of the delayed pile-out, actually, and they go for a duchy. That's always a good sign for me to see. If they felt confident, I would be more worried. But they didn't feel confident in their 12-point lead. They decided to extend it to 15 instead. Pass it back to me. Okay. Now, after buying that ruins and me not seeing the Marauder, I know the Marauder is coming and they have caravans in play. I have no choice. It is definitely now or never. Not definitely. The Marauder could be at the bottom of the deck, but more likely than not, we have to liquidate all of these ruins. I call this the ruined tactician. 1+ card, 1+ buy, 1 extra action, all of which is actually critical here. You'll see. So we liquidate, so to speak. I bet you never thought you would hear someone talk about liquidating ruins. Here, I do not want to discard silver to the stables. I want as much money as possible. So the druid will filter past these ruins into another copper. Great, we could keep going. And we do keep going all the way up to this point in the deck. And I have 2 plays here. The play that I calculated, I'll mention first, was that I discarded 5 coppers to these 5 stables. I know there are 2 coppers in the last 3 cards of my deck. My play is to set aside the stables as way of the turtle, knowing that there will be coppers in the next hand, so I'll get to draw deeper into the deck and use whatever money I have to take a points lead. At this point, I calculated that using Silver Mine and gaining Conquest, 3 Conquests would put me ahead by 3 points. However, there is a better line. There is a better line, and this is stop and look, count things, really. The better line is to play the stables actually, discard one of the silver to draw the 2 coppers, no net loss of money. I have the same money, 23 coin, you'll see it soon. However, this allows me to have a clean shuffle first and to put down the abandoned mine. We forgot the full ruins flex on this turn. The abandoned mine moves me from 23 to 24, which is significant because I would be able to buy a 4th conquest. Buying that 4th conquest would give me a 9-point lead. Now with the state of A. Moffat's deck, that is likely going to hold, the lead is going to hold for 2 turns. I could have had more VP, I should have taken more VP and just hoped on the reshuffle that the deck would at least get me enough money for a duchy, which is reasonable considering the amount of silver I am going to put into the deck in that line. I missed it. I didn't count carefully. I didn't think the end game through again here. So we go for the first line that we described, which is triple conquest preceded by a single silver to gain a 3-point lead. I'm just going through the calculations in my mind here because I have to add. There's the 3-point lead. We pass it back. I do have some reliability here because I have the stables. I can draw deeper into the deck. But will it be enough is the question. The deck now is very, high variance because of the amount of silver and ruins in the deck. And the 3-point lead, in theory, is insufficient because A. Moffat could have a big turn. I think I thought carefully after this game. With this flagship, they could have found our stables. They only showed 2 stables on the turn prior, which means they have 2 left. They could have found our stables, drawn deep into the deck, drawn back around to the candlestick maker, and with ideal draw, you'd probably have to stack the deck for this, but they could have gone for province and caravan to win there. So this was not 100% guaranteed for me. Whereas the other line, I think I would definitely not lose. I don't think A. Moffat could take 9 points and empty the final caravan and ruins. What we have in front of us instead is the marauder being played. Great sign for me, no stables at all. So probably they're not even getting to a province. I already have the win in hand actually. And province for A. Moffat, we draw through, mostly curious to see what the deck would have given us. And the deck actually gave us a lot. It gave us 14 and 2 buys for the final province, which we needed actually because A. Moffat bought the province to overtake us in points, and the final caravan for the win. I was shocked at the end of the game that I came out ahead of that, especially after I bungled the plus actions. We get an exciting, spectacular win with Conquest. On to the last. Our last match was against Lucas 567, and the last game that we'll feature turned out to be quite long actually. The difference in idea here came mostly from whether or not I should buy Cathedral or not. Lucas has already started with Cathedral on turn 1. I was reluctant to get Cathedral because of a couple reasons. One is in the clashes pile there behind the battle plan, there is a discard attack in the archer. Generally, discard attacks hurt the Cathedral player more than they ordinarily would. The second reason is the lack of plus buy in the kingdom. There is gain in Importer and Falconer, but the lack of plus buy means your deck size will be limited. It'll be small. You can't make it very, very big and then have your choice of what to trash to the Cathedral. You can't. Only research will increase your hand size to give you many options to trash to the Cathedral. There's no way to top deck a copper, for example, so that you're guaranteed to always trash something bad to the Cathedral. So I decided to skip Cathedral here. That might be wrong. I am often a little hesitant to Cathedral in general, often to my detriment, but I decided to play without it here. If I'm playing without it, well then what am I doing? I do still want to trash. My other options for that are Bounty Hunter and Research. We have Draw and Laboratory, and Groundskeeper is a critical source of extra VP in this kingdom, and it will turn out to be, it always turns out to be important, but particularly important here because this Groundskeeper feeds into my idea, my plan of not getting Cathedral on turn 1. Generally, the Cathedral player will want the game to finish sooner rather than later. However, with the presence of Groundskeeper, in other words, with the presence of extra VP, I can drag the game longer and force more uncomfortable decisions upon the Cathedral player was another idea. The final thing I would like to talk about here is the family of inventors, that ally. That is going to be critical here, and Lucas uses their favors very cleverly. I'll show you in each spot what they do. Why it turns out to be critical mostly is because of Falconer here. A little bit because of research, but mostly because of Falconer. Falconer has to gain cards costing less than it. However, with the family of inventors, you could drop the price of Falconer to make it less effective. If it drops to 4, you cannot gain farming villages anymore, for instance. On the other hand, if you reduce the price of Lab and keep the price of Falconer at 5, you can use your Falconer to gain Labs. But both you and your opponent have the favor. So that's not guaranteed. If your opponent wants to say something about that and do something about that, they can. Falconer has a big range in this kingdom here. We'll get to all of that soon enough. On the opening, Bounty Hunter for me, not research. Bounty Hunter will keep the points aside for me and give me 3 coin. Help me to get to 5. I'd like to get the labs up as soon as possible. On 3, that could be an importer easily. It is going to be an importer for Lucas and myself. All right, let's see the Cathedral. Second importer for Lucas, makes sense. I don't quite get 5 here, but I get 4, and I have the option to drop the price of something. I choose to drop the price of Lab so that I would be able to get the Lab. Also, angles for making the Falconer a much better gainer. We'll see. Again, I don't have sole say in that issue. Battle plan for Lucas. I'd like to get one soon as well. My importer will gain me yet another lab, and I'm going to get the battle plan now. I don't want them to rotate the battle plans away from me. I want control over the pile. Warlord in particular is going to be nasty here. Importer gains a lab for Lucas. They did see their battle plan, so they had the option to rotate it. They choose not to rotate here because they want to buy a second battle plan. Understandable. I do rotate here because I want to get into the archer. Buy the archer. All right, let's see. Let's see how effective this discard attack is going to be, sorry, rather. This is my primary reason for not picking up Cathedral. Okay, importer gains a Falconer for Lucas. I said, okay, if they want the Falconer, then I could get the Falconer, and we'll probably get the labs. It'll be a good time, right? Probably. I don't know. Let's see. Silver for Lucas. For this could be another lab. I decide to get a farming village instead because I have two terminals, the importer and the archer now, and I'm thinking about falconer as well. Second lab for Lucas. Battle plan does not rotate, presumably because they don't have 5. I lied, they have 5. They use the falconer to gain a farming village, so they could have rotated and picked up a warlord there. They decided not to, going for another lab instead. I gain the falconer here, and I am going to rotate into the warlord. I think this is a good time for me to rotate into the warlord because I have the discard attack coming, so I may be able to keep Lucas off 5. If I could win that warlord split, that will go a very, very long way for me. Discard the copper there because discarding the importer doesn't make sense. They can only play one importer anyway, unless they have the farming village. I'm going to take that risk and warlord for me. As it turns out, because of Cathedral, their deck is very consistent. However, just the one farming village comes down and they pick up a vagrant. Probably just something to play when the warlord comes down. Okay, can we get to 5 again here? We can. Falcon against the lab. That was beautiful. And I am able to draw deep into the deck here to find both the warlord and the archer. Maybe I keep them off 5 again here. Get rid of the farming village. They'll probably trash that copper. I do not want them drawing deeper into the deck. So if they trash the copper, they have guaranteed 2 coin. And maybe they have a bad hand and they miss warlord again. Probably not, but I'm doing my best to make them miss the warlord. I get my second one, but I forgot they have the importer in play. Obviously, that will gain a warlord, and they didn't have 5 actually. They had 4, but they used their family of inventor tokens to make sure they got the second warlord. So first, good use of the token from Lucas. All right. Our deck is starting to function as well, even though it is not as well trashed as our opponent. This is a bad play for me here. I should have gone to find the other warlord. This is actually probably quite bad. I should have used the falconer to gain another lab, drawn, found the warlord, play the warlord, then play the archer. I really can't tell you why I did this. Anyways, I know why I did this. I saw the 3 terminals and I thought, oh well, let me buy a dual type to trigger the falconer so that I really play all the terminals. But no, getting the warlord down is much more valuable because Lucas has 3 labs and they will not be able to play all the labs if I get the warlord down. Plus it'll give me 2 extra cards on my next turn, which is important with my less trashed deck. Instead, I put my Family of Inventors token on Groundskeeper. Now, I am going to trigger this Falconer by buying another Falconer to gain either Groundskeeper or Lab. However, me buying my Falconer triggers Lucas's Falconer. They gain a Rats to their hand, so they can trash the Rats to the Cathedral and draw a card. That was nice. That was nice from them. Because I don't have any warlord, they will get all the way through their deck, put down the other warlord. Oh, sorry, put down their first warlord. And I think at this point, it's safe to say we are under warlord lock. Lucas might get away here and there because our deck is bigger. However, because Lucas has trashed so many of their coppers, they do not have that much money. In fact, they only have 4, and they decide to fix that situation by picking up a silver. Importer here is going to gain me a groundskeeper. I don't want to gain more labs because of the incoming warlord lock. This lab, for instance, is a dead card. It's a completely dead card. This is actually quite a good draw for me. I use this falconer to gain a vagrant. That should have been another farming village, but I can't because on the last turn we missed that. Lucas put their Family of Inventors token on falconer. So now I can't gain farming village with it, nor can I gain groundskeeper or lab. Is that okay, Lucas? Makes sense because I have the second falconer, right? So either they gain a second falconer to fight me, or they make my second falconer useless, which is much easier to do, or less useful rather. Anyways, archer attack. Discard the copper here because I want them to have an uncomfortable situation. If I give them the copper, they'll just trash the copper, but here they'll probably have to trash the vagrant. I also am struggling for money a little bit here, but 4 is enough to get me to a groundskeeper if I like. I put another token on the groundskeeper because my plan here is to trigger this falconer in my hand. Gain an importer. That should have been our research to trigger the falconer. By dropping the price of the groundskeeper, I'm now able to gain our groundskeeper with the falconer. However, so does Lucas because they had their falconer in hand as well. We each have 2 groundskeepers after all of that. They gain a bounty hunter, trash the vagrant that we talked about. They draw most of their deck. I think they could get all the way through if they want here. Yeah, there goes vagrant. Bounty hunter sets aside for money. Importer comes down. Their deck is looking good, eh? Looking real good. And they buy a province, getting 2 extra VP from the groundskeepers. Probably as much as you could gain from the groundskeepers here. Anyways, we continue. We are nowhere near getting to province. I gain more groundskeepers. That is my 3rd groundskeeper. Getting the 3rd one isn't great right now, but it isn't terrible either. Look at that. See? The discard attacks are starting to become richer. We removed our silver from their hand, so we'll see what they end up trashing. We do get to 5 here. So what is my plan now? Well, I need money, so I could put the Family of Inventors token on the gold and then buy the gold, but that's too easy. So I decided to get the gold via a roundabout method. Not just a roundabout method. I'm thinking that with all the gains Lucas is doing with Importer and Falconer, and they're adding now green cards to the deck, there is a chance at some point that they will not put down a Warlord on a turn. It doesn't look very likely now, but maybe if I wait long enough, I'll get a turn where I can play all of these labs and groundskeepers and fill my boots at that point with VP. Maybe. As I said, not right now. The deck looks way too good. In fact, they have drawn through everything completely. Exile the province as well. My falconer is triggered by their falconer gaining an importer. And critically here, actually, they don't have money for the province. They only have $7. Not sure how they had 8 last time, but this time they only have 7. And instead of buying money, they buy a duchy, which I liked. I would have been okay if they bought treasure too. More stop cards, you know? More stop cards just makes it more likely that the warlord misses on a turn. But I could live with the duchy. I mean, they'll probably exile it. Their deck is good enough. Especially if I do not find my warlord. Luckily, I do here. I've been very lucky with these finding these warlords. Because my deck is not that great. So many copper still left. Exile importer here for the money. Have to play the archer. Get rid of an importer. Probably again they trash the vagrant. Get up to 5. Again, this is going to be a lab, so that the lab is now empty. I buy the research because I want to keep thinning a little bit. Plus, research can draw for me. And buying the research triggers the falcon in my hand to gain the final lab. How does that help me gain gold? Well, when I buy a territory, when there's a pile empty, I gain a gold. That is my next plan. However, Lucas goes after the territories. I just gave them the money they need to buy province. Gain 1 territory off the importer. Remember, they put that token on that pile, the Clashes piler, and now they are reaping benefits again here. But look at what happened. Look at what happened. They didn't draw through the deck. They drew through most of the deck, but not all of it. And they put 2 more stop cards in the deck. Just wait. Just be patient. Okay, just be patient. Try to find the warlord every turn. That will increase your chances of them stalling out and accumulate resources in the meantime. Okay, there go the groundskeepers for me. There goes the vagrant. There goes another vagrant, probably. Probably we have the warlord. I would really like to find the archer, but I don't. I could try here, but there's nothing I could gain that would let me draw deeper into the deck. That's not true. No, that is true. That is true because Falcon has cost 4 now. I go ahead and I exile a lab here. I don't like that, but I have so many of them, it is annoying me. I do not play the research here. Again, I don't know why. Like, I was really flagging at this point in the game because of how many turns have passed and how much time had passed. Oh, I didn't. Why did I not play it? Yeah, because I wanted to buy a territory. Right. I needed the money to buy the territory. Okay. Anyways, Lucas gets the last territory, so they won that split. So they have 3 gold and 3 territory. Falconer is going to gain me a farming village to my hand. And look at what happened there. Did you all see a warlord come down? I didn't see a warlord come down. I didn't see any warlord. Did you see a warlord? I didn't. I take a battle plan because I only have the 1. And battle plan is as good as lab if it finds an attack, like here. And look at the liberation. All the labs and all the groundskeepers, 4 of them. We have big lead on that split. Lets me draw the whole deck, find the warlord, and now is the time to fill your boots. So exile for money and for thinning. Research will thin. I'll attack here, get rid of the silver from their hand, gain an estate for points, gain a province for points, and just like that, we are only 7 points behind. Only 7 points behind now. We'll have to wait. That won't happen every turn. They'll likely have their warlord in hand here. Had to trash a bounty hunter there, so they replaced it with their importer. And look at this hand. This hand is even worse than the last hand. Yeah, sure, there's the warlord, but there's no lab or anything. They go ahead and they get an archer of their own. Falconer reacts to get me a farming village. I would like to be able to see the warlord here. That would help a lot, but my deck is becoming less okay. Whew. Less reliable as well. Was lucky to see that there. Warlord comes down. Exile a farming village here for the money, mostly. I'm not really excited to have to exile that, but I want the money. I'll get rid of a gold from their hand. Maybe I should have removed the archer. Again, I just want to make them make uncomfortable decisions. Okay, we put down an importer and we gain an estate with the falconer. I don't think there's much else to gain with that. So I took the points. And with that, I have a lead now somehow. Anyways, let's see if the warlord comes down for them. Lucas now is going full points. That importer gained that duchy. Unfortunately, they top deck that warlord. But look at the situation. 2 warlords here, 17 cards in deck. Aha. They might be able to draw through most of it, but they have to reshuffle before they find their warlord guaranteed. We don't care that much about the archer attack, especially being under the effect of warlord. They get rid of our groundskeeper, but that's fine. We'll find it back on our turn where Lucas doesn't have the warlord in play. Again, our rats here. It could trash, and the research could also trash the rats for a big turn, potentially. I haven't used the research for a big turn yet, but I am going to do so now because I saw the two warlords out of the shuffle. I just need to find the right target for it. And unfortunately for me here, I choose the lab. Shouldn't be getting rid of my draw like that. Plus, it only sets aside 3 cards, not 5 cards, because I dropped the price twice. However, I am still able to get up to a province, even though I'm not able to play that lab. And fingers crossed they don't find their warlord, and I have a big turn here. We didn't find our warlord as well, so they are able to play multiple, well, more than 2 labs to trigger the shuffle. So there's a chance now that they find the warlord, but they don't. They don't. They did their best to find it, but they didn't find it. They did find enough money province and 3 groundskeepers to take the lead. 8-point lead there. But no warlord, so we have free reign here. Let's see how far we can get this time. We get to put down all of our groundskeepers. We draw most of the deck. I could draw further here. I could draw further here with the rats and trash the estate, for example, but I didn't want to get rid of any VP right now. I decided to risk it, and luckily it was a copper on top of the deck, so that worked out reasonably well. Warlord, and then we attack. Look at this hand. Look, 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 look. See? Dragging the game out. They buy green cards, and now they have 3 green cards in their hand. I would love it if they have a 4th green card in their hand. Now to fill our boots with as many points as possible. What does that look like? I think this is probably going to be double estate gain of the importer. I'm not able to play any of the importers though, but I think getting the points now is much more important. And we'll get a province to take big lead. Big lead. 12 points lead. Okay. Lucas had to trash a duchy. See, it's turn 18. And they had to trash a duchy. They gained 1 back from the importer, but no net gain in points for them. They did put down the warlord though, so we have to behave ourselves here. Not a great turn for me, no warlord. Just the 1 groundskeeper. This could be an estate for a couple points. I chose instead to trash the silver. I thought about trashing the duchy or the province even, but that seemed like madness because they will reshuffle and they could top deck the warlord, and then if I set aside 8 cards, I don't get to play all of them and I lose 6 points for nothing. Silver is, more reasonable, I think. Falconer can get them back easily. Okay, no warlord for me, and they find their warlord and a few labs. Let's see what they come up with. They have to trash a silver out their hand. They gain an estate. They buy a duchy. Narrowing the gap. I think they are 56. I'm at 58. We have quite a good hand here, actually. Quite a good hand. Even though the warlord is around, we see most of our good cards. Falconer gains me a farming village. That draws me deeper into the deck. Battle plan draws a couple more cards. I could play this rats and trash importers, for instance. Didn't want the deck to get overrun with rats though, so I decided to stop here. Just attack, get rid of the gold from the hand, and put down the importer. I would like to put down the importers on the turns with when I have the warlord effect on me, and then when the warlord effect is not on me, I would like to play the falconers to gain estates to gain lots of points. And here now, piles are becoming thin. 3 groundskeepers, the labs have been out for a while, 2 archers. So that pile could go very quickly. It's important to keep our points lead. And critically with the importers, the duchy pile can go down. So I do want to have a say in how that duchy pile is empty, and how that duchy pile empties. Thus the reason for the importer. 5 is going to be enough for a duchy of my own. Double duchy doesn't end the game, but it may put you in a great position. All right. Good turn for Lucas. They see a lot of their cards. 2 labs, 2 groundskeepers. Those are the most important pieces. Watch what they did here. Watch. Where's that token going? On the Falconer. You know why? Because last time they saw me gain a fishing village off of the Falconer. So they want to make my Falconers worse. Clever use. Gain an estate, they pass it back here. I gain a duchy. And now, 1 duchy, 1 estate wins the game for me. I have an estate gain in the Falconer. Can I find enough money for the duchy? Let's go. Lab. No money yet. Where's the money? Show me money. And even I'm not under the influence of the warlord. And I thought here, okay, for sure I have it. I can exile warlord, for example. Get 3 coin. Falconer can give me silver. Other Falconer can give me a estate. I win. Except I didn't see when Lucas sneakily put that family of inventors favor on the Falcon. I can't gain silver. I cannot gain silver. I play the first Falconer here, and then I try to gain the silver, and then I realize what happened. So I said, okay, Lucas, fine. I'll try to draw deeper into the deck with a Vagrant. Had I known that, I would have picked up the Vagrant first and seen what the top of the deck was. Junk. At this point, I am going to play both Warlords because my deck is huge and they will get back into the deck for the next shuffle. And I would like to have 4 cards instead of 2 cards on the next turn. Estates out, Labs out. The last Duchy could win it for Lucas, but with 2 Warlords, they cannot get enough Groundskeepers in play to get enough points to close the gap here. I'm, what, 68 to 59? Duchy plus 2 Groundskeepers is 7. That's not enough. It's not enough. And there's nothing else to gain with the Importer for points. Actually, the only things left are a couple of provinces and a duchy. So they have to province, pass it back to me, and hope I don't province. 4 here, I think the best thing to get on 4 is a Bounty Hunter, and we should be fine at this point, honestly, because all the green cards are gone, and Lucas actually decides to throw in the towel at this point because of how many green cards are out of the supply now. So we win that game. We had to drag our opponent through 21 turns there. I'm not sure if ignoring Cathedral was the way to go or not, but I think we played our idea reasonably well. All right, let's have a look at the standings for season 56. Here are the standings for season 56 in the D division. A few matches are still left. However, I think they will not impact my position in the top 2, which means I will promote to the C division next season. In fact, it is likely that I'll end up in first place here with the 21 wins, 70% win rate. We worked on our endgame a little bit for this season, and I definitely noticed some endgames where I improved in. Let's keep improving the endgame especially and see how we do next season. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in season 57.